Welcome travelers from the winding trails, grab a spot by the hearth and a pint of ale. A brief respite from our noble quest, lean back in a chair for the Song of Rest. Hello travelers and welcome to the Song of Rest, a place where our heroes and the deities that guide them gather to share a behind the scenes and behind the screens look at the unfolding adventures in Archipeldia. Gathered before us is the Dungeon Master, Aaron Rollins, and his band of players, Dustin Bleschmidt, Janelle Wilkie, and Chad Stafford. But I'll let them do the talking, and I'll get back to playing.
All right, Timmy, do you have a ditty for us today?
Yeah, we had that in post.
Oh, we do that now.
We do that in post.
We are developing as a people.
I'm still scuttling. I'm sitting on the water.
Are you still whopping?
No, glob.
Oab. Oab.
Timmy on the water. Song of Rest in disguise.
The waveform for the glob looks like a fish.
Glob.
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 It
does.
does look like a fish.
Glob.
Glob.
Oh my gosh.
Meant to be.
All right, so getting into the last episode, pretty big episode, if I do say.
Oh yeah. Sherman had the most epic line ever saying, "You're no hero. You're only a fool."
That would have been a great mic drop
to,
right there.
to Leon.
To Leon, yeah, that was so good.
So
Oh,
good.
I thought you were going to say the epic Sherman line, "Yeah, I don't know if I have any underwear that would fit you."
I think he said that before we even got in the water.
He's asking me for underwear. Like Timothy comes over to Sherman. Obviously, it's to ask Sherman for some underwear.
Well, you know what? You don't know. Maybe he's like, yeah, you know what? If we're gonna swim, I don't have anywhere. And you know, Sherman, being a well-trained military, essentially soldier officer type deal, he has his spare clothes in a zip-tight, waterproof baggie. So he would have a backup pair of underwear that are nice and dry that he's probably gonna need to change into.
Aaron, you should know by now not to put water between us and where we need to go, because that's going to be an hour epic.
You guys are in
Aaron, what the
Archipeldia. There's water everywhere.
You picked the wrong place. We're going on the story arc, and we're going to another world, one where there's no water.
Aaron planned 2 puzzles for us this episode, but before the
That's
puzzles
right.
was another
And
lake.
The funniest part, and I was actually very proud of you guys finally just being like, you know what? I bet we could just swim across.
Well, you get into your head that, like, oh, the easiest solution is going to cause harm. There's going to be some kind of creature of the lake that's
Some
like,
kind of creature, what I thought.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, the current suddenly picks up and a storm starts brewing and you're carried away. Roll some strength saving throws.
It's
Or
just a
you'll
little
drown.
lake. What the hell?
I'm so happy that you made Lily do a backstroke and made her say wee.
Everyone was taking a different swimming position. You've got Sherman with the doggy paddle. I guess, what does Flowerkraut do when she's shaping water? Is she doing like butterfly or something?
Oh, she kind of just planks. She like puts her like arms right next to her side, and yeah, she just turns into kind of like a surfboard. I don't know why she goes face down, but she does.
I kind of feel like, isn't that a bit from Bruce Almighty when he's like
Is it?
walking across the water? Or am I thinking of something else?
I don't know. I just picture her as just like a jet ski or a surfboard.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? It's totally not Bruce Almighty. It's the SpongeBob movie and the Dave Hasselhoff speedboat.
Yes.
The Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually thinking of that Daniel Radcliffe movie where he's just like a dead body and the
Yeah.
dude
Yes.
rides him
I
in the
forgot
water
about
because
that.
he's fart propelled. Like there's all the gas built up in the
That
body.
is
Like
Flowerkraut.
that's Flowerkraut
That's
style.
it.
It is
Absolutely.
100%
That is it.
It was like
that. Yes.
the Swiss Army Man or something.
Yes,
Swiss
yes,
Army Man,
Swiss
yeah.
Army Man. She's Daniel Radcliffing it
Yeah.
for sure. And I love that Lily taught Timothy Biscuit how to swim, and she suggested he just become a duck. Like,
Yeah. I was like, I don't know if that's how all birds work, to be honest, but I was proved correct.
It's
can
now
just
canon that
sit
he
on
can
the
just
water.
slop his butt on the water. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, it's all that fruit you ate before we left.
so
Wicked buoyancy.
I'm thinking we should include something that my friend has been telling me they have when they play D&D, which is a fan art moment. And for me, that was a fan art moment with having Timothy being a crow,
and him
being
whopping
a duck on
across the water with his arms, not doing anything but just gesturing the movement.
I'll just show the legs doing this goofy little wob, but the body's just perfectly still on top.
I love that
water.
idea, the fan art moment, because mine definitely from the other episode, I think it was 5, would have been Jive Horse close up with Sherman flailing in the background and falling off of.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
I'll just have like Jive Horse kind of like bobbing his head a little bit, listening. We'll maybe have it overlaid with Rory's amazing music that he came up with for the most like dingusry. Like that music is so funny. Chad, you compared it to Banjo and Kazooie.
It's like Banjo and Kazooie meets Bulk and Skull's song from the original Power Rangers. It's like that super level of campiness that's just so funny.
Let's hear it for the Power Strangers that you guys brought into this
Oh,
one.
yeah. The Strangers of Power.
So did I get that wrong? I think I heard that wrong. Was it the Strangers of Power or the Rangers of Power?
No, it was the Strangers of Power. Yeah.
Okay, because after we were done with the recording, I was thinking about that for like 2 days. I'm like, did I hear him wrong? And I was saying strangers the whole time because it would make sense if they were like actual rangers, like a D&D class. And I was like,
That's
oh my
true,
God,
true.
I'm gonna have to cut my lines right before I go and then just have the Rangers of Power because I flubbed it, and it would have been so much work.
Yeah.
It was Strangers of Power because I thought Rangers of Power was going to be too close of a cop-out, you know? So, yeah. And then, Chad, do you actually remember which monster I was referencing that was like the pineapple with the tentacle vines?
I thought you were referencing the pumpkin guy. The episode with the, there's a pumpkin dude that has vines.
Oh, is there?
But no, what's the reference on that one?
So it is. Oh yeah, there he is. I found him. So it is a pineapple monster, Pineoctopus.
Pineoctopus.
That's it. That's the one.
Excuse me.
So
I'm going to look that.
It's the one where he's an evil clown and then he turns into the pineapple thing. With all the tentacles. I guess they're not
and
vines.
Didn't you say that it was like
tentacles.
Syndra Sinestra or something like that summons?
Yeah,
which
something
was funny
like that.
Because that's so close to the NPC at the beginning of Tomb of Annihilation that I thought you were referencing her.
Yeah, it is really close.
What was the name of the pineapple dude?
Pineoctopus.
So Pineoctopus is the Power Rangers one. I'm pretty sure I said Pineapple Petruchio. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a bad guy.
This thing is so crazy looking.
I don't remember this one. The one I was referencing is the pumpkin wrapper. There's so many tentacle monsters in this show. It's insane.
This picture I found is so crazy. They drew it almost like a Final Fantasy creature or something. This is so wild. You got whoever's listening, definitely Google Pineoctopus. It is interesting.
It's a
This looks
trip.
like something you would see in like Phantasy Star. This looks like something you would like fight on one of the first worlds.
Okay, to be fair, all of those Power Rangers monsters look like stuff out of games like that, for sure.
What was it that you were even comparing it to? Like, was it like Lily's entanglement? Her
Yes, that was exactly it. When she did the entangle, and then I was like, this is just like when this happened in the show. You've seen that episode, right?
Oh my gosh.
man. And you guys were like on the spot with, oh yeah, of course I've seen that episode.
So now we have Power Rangers and Sailor Moon exist in canon in Archipeldia as stage plays.
That's right.
Yes.
Lily cast Moonbeam, and she was asking if she had to do some magical transformation next time she does it.
Is the description you used something that you wrote yourself? Because that was lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so cool. And then
really brought me into the moment for sure.
Yeah, that made it so epic. And then
wasn't that also when like Sherman realized he could do radiant damage to it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the giveaway
So
moment.
let's talk about that. Well, I guess we can start with Sir Leon, or if you guys want to back up and talk about the puzzle to get in. So like as you guys are already aware, anytime that you actually either experience damage or you deal damage of a certain type, meta-wise, your character would know if the enemy was immune or resistant or vulnerable or whatever like that. So I was like, this fight, I was a little bit worried because this guy's resistant to so much. Like, I'll tell you straight up, if you had done a Vicious Mockery, it wouldn't have worked. He was completely immune to psychic damage.
Whoa.
He can't take psychic. Ghost can't be. I feel like that's all you have left as a ghost.
It just would have, like, because he doesn't have a brain and he's like, his soul's pre-programmed to do what it's doing. It just would have gone right through him. So,
wow.
Yeah, like in Dissonant Whispers and stuff like that. So when you started rocking out the thunderclap or whatever with the shatter, that's what it was.
Oh yeah, good use of shatter, bro.
Yeah, that was great.
Janelle figured out that that he was probably tied to his gravestone, which was good thinking.
Yeah, you picked that up super quick because I was not going there.
Well, I mean, it was like the only thing in the room. I'm like, what is its significance? It's either I was initially thinking it was like the way we were going to get in was like, I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have to break this and in front of Sherman, and he's going to be upset at me. But I'm going to have to fart on this guy's gravestone, and
we would be cursed, possessed for sure if you farted on the gravestone first.
Such disrespect.
It's just a little fart on a gravestone.
Yeah, when the map turned out to be like the way in, I'm like, okay, then what's with the gravestone? I'm like, maybe it's what's powering the ghost.
Here I was thinking, because the gravestone, while it doesn't move, it still had a pretty high AC, so hitting it wasn't going to be real easy. I think it had like an 18.
Did it?
But you guys hit it every time. And anytime you cast a spell that would affect it, it didn't have a saving throw, so it just automatically fails. So this shatter was doing tons of damage to it. And that was kind of the way to get around all those resistances that he had, was to attack the gravestone if you could beat the AC.
That brings me to my next question. Did Sir Leon and the Tombstone have a shared HP pool?
Yes, they did.
I was wondering how that worked.
So in some cases, we were doing double damage to him.
Yep, you were doing a lot of damage with those shatters because he wasn't resistant to the thunder damage, and the same and the shatter actually has a specific wording, I think, for inanimate objects. It they would fail, like constructs take disadvantage on the saving throw. So you were destroying him with those spells. And then the funny thing is that the lesson that was supposed to be learned from his fight, which didn't really come through, was his resistances were tough to get through. And that's kind of what led up to Sherman getting the Silvered Blade afterward, because Sherman now no longer has to worry about bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. Well, he really just doesn't have to worry about slashing resistance anymore with his sword for any creatures that have that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, I mean, I'll be honest, you guys kicked the crap out of Sir Leon, especially having, that freaking 28 points of radiant damage in the smite at the end. Holy crap.
I don't know. I feel like you hit me a couple times pretty good.
Yeah, I finally got to use the Sherman snack.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, the Sherman
I was
snack.
so excited.
I think I was down to 7 HP, and then you gave me the Sherman snack.
We're in a fight, Timothy.
But okay.
I love that. And then he starts talking about how it tastes, and he's like, "Wait, we're in a fight." Oh yeah. So like he had a bit over 100 hit points.
Oh,
But because you guys were dealing damage to the tombstone, it was depleting very quickly. So that ended up working out really well for you guys.
yeah. Pro strats, everybody. Good job.
Oh,
Yeah, pro
man.
strats on the fight, failed strats everywhere else. Especially the puzzles.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
the tentacle
Vine
puzzle. Yeah, the vine puzzle.
I feel like being an artist / visual person both benefited and was a detriment to me in this, because it's so hard for me to visualize what people are saying without a like actual visual. But in a way, it's a benefit for you to be able to like have to come up with the right verbiage so that people can understand the visual. But by just hearing it.
Yeah, and everyone kind of ends up painting their own. Everyone ends up painting their own picture of what they're seeing in front of them, and you know, one of the big things with theater of the mind is questions. You know, lots of questions for clarity on what does this look like. Are there details on this part or that part? Because I agree. I think sometimes people will get lost in translation at some point, especially if the scenery is being described fairly quickly. So that was a fun one. I was really happy as a DM that you guys triggered both the traps on it.
Oh, right, because we triggered the door closing and we triggered the damage.
Yeah, so the white vine
Yes.
created the door behind you, and if you were to use the white vine another time, the door behind you would inch 5 feet closer to you.
Oh.
So it would start to close in on your space, and
Fun.
And then luckily no one touched the barriers, but obviously if you touched the barrier, you would have taken necrotic damage, similar to the way it would happen when you used the red vine, the tasty red vine.
Yeah.
The tasty
I don't know.
red vines.
Felt a little stale to me, that one.
Darn those stale red vines.
What are vines but not the tentacles of the earth, really?
Yes.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Back to the pineapple
Earth
octopus
tentacles.
thing. But yeah, I love that you did a color theory puzzle. That was very fun. I
was
liked that.
great.
Yeah, that was fun. I like color puzzles. And this one I wanted to go beyond just mixing two colors to kind of make it a little bit more thought-provoking.
Yes, that was thought-provoking, the last bit about the rage, because traditionally rage is usually seen as the color red, but for Fae, I love that you had to know a little bit more about the Fae, and if they were mad, it would be more of like the dark or necrotic damage or something along those lines, so it would be black instead. That's really cool.
Yeah. And now that we've established this, I feel like I need to keep a Sherman Jeopard color palette on my screen at all times.
That was so good. You
That
actually
was
pulled up the
amazing.
dog eye cones palette or spectrum.
Yeah.
Which is why Sherman's armor is like yellow, gray, and blue. That's your actual color scheme, which is
Yeah.
really funny.
Yes,
Like, what are you
it
talking about?
is.
These are all the colors.
There were 2 Black Rangers.
Oh, that was my favorite. Oh
You know
my
what?
God.
Yellow Ranger.
Where Timothy's just like, no, that's not right. No.
What are you talking
That's definitely wrong.
That was one of my favorite bits. Oh my god. How long we kept doing the Strangers of Power stuff. Oh, that was so funny.
Can I be honest with you? When I was drawing Sherman, I actually didn't even think about the blue and the yellow and the gray being the colors that he sees, but I totally did those colors, and so did you, Chad. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool because like Janelle and I are both working on like character art around the same time. I think we're both kind of like taking inspiration from what the other one's doing. And then you used a lot of blue for Sherman. Like that actually looks really good because it also distinguishes him a bit more color palette wise from the other characters. So it's funny that in retrospect, those are the only colors Sherman would see.
Yes.
Yeah, and the blue is great. Is ooh, I like that. That's a good blue. And it's so funny it turned out that way because I didn't look that up when I described how I wanted Sherman to look. It's just that felt right. And apparently that's why. It was just meant to be.
It was meant to be. It's so lovely.
So you guys had the puzzle and the fight with Sir Leon, who I'm sure you guys caught was a Leonin, a lion person, which is an actual race in D&D.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is all new information. Anytime you say, I'm sure, as you guys know, it'll be something that goes over my head. It will be brand new information to your D&D noob over here.
I thought that was a great way to throw in another animal. How do you say the word? Anamorphic pal character. Anthropomorphic
character.
Yeah.
Definitely got big Leomon vibes from him.
Yeah.
Like before he got the curse taken out of him. Digimon reference for anyone who it's been 2 decades. Good God.
Hi, old people.
I was also thinking of he's a real good guy in. Well, I guess no, he's got his faults too. But Claudius in the new, I guess it's not news, newer version of the Thundercats was like immediately what popped into my brain hole. Which it is criminally underrated. If you like this like D&D stuff, the newer 2017 version of the Thundercats is freaking amazing, and it combines like all this idea of fantasy and technology together in such a cool way. It has really good world building, and I'm sad it got canceled before the first season was over.
I need to watch that. I was a Thundercats like maniac back when I was tiny.
Same, man.
That and like just watching all of Voltron, like the new stuff, which is a million times better than the original. If you ever go back and watch old Voltron episodes, you're like, why did I like this?
Well, I feel the same. And it's almost sacrilege to say that to a lot of people, but like there's newer versions of the Transformers that I enjoy way more than G1. Like Transformers Prime is one of my favorite Transformers shows, and I'll go back and watch G1 and be like, man, like every other scene they've got the color palette mixed on one of the characters, or there's just line art that's not finished, or it's just like it's like so cheesy, but when you were a kid, it was the coolest thing ever.
Looking at it through the lens of a child is something magical. You can't replicate as an adult.
Or even like a teen, because like we recently, and Dustin knows about this, but we recently were like reminiscing of Toonami cartoons, like when anime.
Oh, are you talking about our Zoids?
We're talking about Zoids. We're talking about Zoids. And how horrible that show is, but no one will ever ruin the Liger Zero for me. It's one of the coolest mechs ever, and also plays into our Leon. So full circle. We got back there somehow.
Nice transition.
We got back there.
Yeah. So Sir Leon is finally put to rest. His protection over the Phalein's gone. You guys open it up, and then essentially there was another puzzle: how to get into the Fae.
real quick before we talk about body slams into a solid wall. Was Leon, just out of curiosity, was Leon always just kind of a bad guy, or did he, in his more corporeal state, become a corrupted entity, or was he just always kind of a bad dude?
No, Sherman nailed it on the head. He was a follower of Tritherion, just like Sherman, because he felt he was liberating the people of Praxil from this threat that was on the island without really fully understanding what he was doing. And so when Tritherion essentially turned his back on him, he turned to darker powers in order to complete his task. And it ended up costing him his life through whatever contract or power loan that he got. But he did what he did, so he was still able to cast all the Fae out of Praxil, and it turns out to be this heroic deed, according to all the Praxilians, that he gave his life for them. So, kind of ends up being a little bit of a twist on what everyone thought actually happened.
It's going to be hard to explain that to the town.
Listen, pull up a chair, but
man.
like really slowly, because we got to think about how we're going to break this to you.
Real slow.
to make this chair go any faster.
That's good, because you're fired. And you see all these people.
You can just take the chair with you. Just take it with you. It's a parting gift, really.
I can't seem to move it any further.
I've got to... I hope I can find... And Sherman hopes he can find some sort of proof to make it easy for him to explain to the people. But who knows? We're going into completely uncharted territory for all of our heroes.
Yeah.
Especially now that we're kind of like at the entry point to the Feywild.
Which was a task of its own.
Timothy body slamming the wall makes...
At some point you're just like, forget it.
Who put
I hope you
Windex
don't
on the
mind
wall?
me kind of like taking control of Timothy for a second there, but after he had like attempted to body slam and then Sherman stopped him, but then Sherman turned his back, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Timothy's going to do it anyway.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think it was a good call. I tried to push everything that looked like a button on that map.
Sherman, what if the whole thing is a button? What if it's just one big button that you have to press?
Well, you got there faster than I did.
Yeah. It was a puzzle designed for Timothy.
I just looked up because I wasn't sure when I said Thundercats coming out in 2017. That shit came out in 2011.
Oh my
Holy
gosh.
crap, that was so
Wow.
long ago, and now I'm very upset.
We're old.
I just
10
had to
years
get
ago.
that out because I said the wrong date and I didn't want to get called out for it.
Wow, well, we definitely... If we can do a during episode fact check, man, that we got our A game on.
Too
that's
late,
for
Chad.
sure.
We haven't even posted this, and you've been at so many times.
Oh, man.
Crap.
Oh, shit.
What else did we have? I think, Dustin, were you saying something?
I think he was going to wrap us up. Yeah, I think he was going to cut us out. He's pulling out the cane. He's going to pull us off stage.
It's a good
We're
time.
all imploding a little bit. I think we've had one too many Cinder Ow Wows while we've been hanging out and chatting.
Yeah, we did.
That's a warm belly. Well, Dustin, why don't you wrap it up for us?
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. And why don't we pass it on over to our good friend Timothy Biscuit to wrap up his set?
Thank you so much for listening to our Song of Rest. If you like the adventures your ears just wit on, feel free to listen in on our other adventures from any plane of existence or seeing stone you get your podcasts. Until we meet again, safe journeys, travelers.
Winds with you, BB Army. Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Break Battle and Roll. We hope you're enjoying our adventure as much as we are in creating it. If you're looking for more ways to connect with Break Battle and Roll, follow our Instagram and Twitter, both at Break Battle Roll, or stop by and give us a like on the Break Battle and Roll Facebook page. Additionally, you can follow Chad Stafford at his Instagram and Twitter at It'sChitChad. That's ITSCHITCHAD, as well as his YouTube channels ChitChad and ChitChad Plays. Janelle Wilkie on her Instagram at janelle.wilkie, that's JANELLE.WILKE. Join our good buddy Dustin Bleshman as he streams on twitch.tv/thefinaldestination. Follow his Instagram and TikTok both at @the_final_destination and his Twitter at FINL Destination. You can also find me, Aaron, on Twitter at AirKuma. That's AARKUMA. Though the four of us bring this podcast to you, it wouldn't have the same audio quality without our amazing musicians Ben Holland and Rory O'Neill, providing our theme song and musical accompaniment. Ben can be found on SoundCloud, and you can find Rory on Twitter at Trench Roarfare. That's TrenchRoar F-A-R-E. We'd also like to shout out our good friends at the Roaring D20s, another fantastic D&D podcast with DM Scott Jones. Give them a follow on their Instagram and Twitter at RD20s Podcast. That's RD, the number 2, the number 0, S Podcast. Now that you're a part of the BB Army, help spread the word. Got a friend or two that's run dry on D&D podcasts? Send them our way. Also, if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. We'd love to hear what you think. Thanks again for listening, and now it's time for me to get back on the story arc, grab a drink, and get ready for the next adventure. Until next time.